Hi and welcome to Yoga Jadra. Today we're going to talk about Vasisthasana or side plank. Side plank is a great strengthener. We're going to use our core, we're going to use our arms. It's great for balance and focus as well. It's a bit of an intense pose for our wrists, so I will go over a few options to modify at the end as needed. I didn't use any props today, so just go ahead and grab your mat. We're about to begin. Okay, let's start with the modified version of Vasisthasana. I'm going to go into tabletop pose, palms under shoulders, knees under hips, and I'm going to take my right foot out to the side, so it's actually going to land possibly off the mat, and I'm going to bring my left leg around, nice and long, and lift up my left arm, and this is the modified version of Vasisthasana, the very first version, and my leg pointing out back here is what's going to help with balance, kind of like a kickstand would help. Next step, keep this foot where it is actually, and I'm going to lift my left foot up off the earth. So here I am adding a little bit more core work. Next step, if I want to go one step further, I'm going to take my right foot and just point it towards the arch of my left. Got a nice long line from the left fingertips down through the shoulders to the palm, the wrist on my right, and your head can look in any direction, whatever feels balanced and comfortable for your neck. And we'll come down to the center, and I'll take the other side for the next variation. I'm going to bring my left hand to the center of the mat. I'm going to bring my right leg long. Here we are, other side in that modified version that I had, and now I'm going to take it to the next step. I'm going to bring my right foot back, so my top leg back and my bottom foot forward. And this is great. Really strong pose, really working hard here. Next step, I'm going to stack my feet one on top of the other, so everything gets in line. Notice how my feet were separate for this slightly modified version. And then to get to the very first full version, this is the most traditional version of Vasisthasana, they're going to be stacked, and my head to my heels is one straight line, just like a plank when you're doing traditional plank. Again, focus can be wherever works for you. And that is really the pose. If you're in class and teacher says, okay, we're going into Vasisthasana now, you do any of those modified variations, and most likely what you'll see most other students and perhaps your teacher doing is the one we just did. Now, if we want to play, let's get back into the pose. Again, I'm going to stack one foot on top of the other, and I'm just going to have a little bit of fun. I'm going to take my right leg and bring it up into a tree pose. So no problem here. Still having a very similar pose to the previous. Lots of strength in that arm. Okay. Next, I'm going to go back to that modified version with my left toe pointing to my right, and I'm going to take my left leg and bring it into eagle. So just another little fun variation. And now you can see my right foot is actually flat on the earth. Okay, so those are some tricks playing around. If you want to go next, here's what we do. We're getting into the more challenging variations now. So if you're starting to feel comfortable in the traditional and maybe playing around a little bit, here's what comes next. So I'm going to go back into traditional plank, which we haven't been in yet. Okay, so I'm going to start in traditional plank for this one. I'm going to bring my left hand to the center of the mat, tip over into my Vasisthasana, my traditional side plank, and this time I'm going to lift my right leg up. That's a great pose as well. Maybe I'm going to bring my knee in. Notice what happened here. When I brought my knee in, my hips shifted to point a little bit more up towards the ceiling. I'm going to do it on the other side. My leg went longer, my whole foot is on the floor now. If this feels balanced, yogi toe lock around the big toe and lift it up. see, what else can I share? The last one, lots of balance, lots of strength. Also a big stretch, also kind of like Hanumanasana stretch. Okay, sometimes we go from side plank over into wheel, and that kind of looks like, I'm going to start towards the wall here. Bring my right hand down. I've come up here, I've got my knee up, and then maybe I'm going to step my left foot back. Here I am in Wild Thing, got my hips high to the sky, and this is great. You can hang out here for a while, do this for months and months and months, and then maybe eventually whoosh, turn all the way over into wheel, and then flip back. Wild Thing, and return to traditional plank. Wild Thing also comes up a lot from downward facing dog. Folks turn over that way. I want to share one more thing. So from traditional plank, I'm going to bring my left hand into the center, come on over onto my stacked traditional side plank, and I suggested earlier bringing the right foot back and the left foot forward when I have my right foot on top, so top foot back, bottom foot forward, because this is going to help me go whoosh into my Wild Thing really nice and easy. But another option for balance, I could bring my top foot forward and my bottom foot back. Now I'm going to be stuck if I'm trying to go into Wild Thing, but it's a nice balance and good one to play around with if you like. Oh, I can feel it in my arms, my core. Okay, so Vasisthasana side plank is a lot on the wrist. It can be a lot of pressure on your wrists. If you have anything going on in that area, feel free to adjust the pose to be on either your fist or your whole forearm if you like. So let's say I'm going into my the very first modified variation that we had today. I can take that here, this is what it looked like initially, and instead of being here on the palm on my wrist, I'm going to just pop right up onto the fist here. Still a great strengthener and a lot of the same benefits, and I'm just protecting my wrist a little bit if you need to. Okay, so an example of the forearm, let's do the traditional pose. I'm going to come all the way down, and here's the slight modification with one foot in front of the other, and then I'll stack both feet on top of each other. I'm still long, one straight line from heels to the top of the head. Just got my whole forearm down. And of course, you can experiment with wrist or forearm in any of the variations. And that's Vasisthasana. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please like and subscribe below. It's really helpful for keeping this whole project going, and it really means a lot to me as well. Thank you.